Hello my dear friends. So friends, we are done with the discussion of section 12 of the concept of place of supply. Especially section 12 was talking about place of supply in case of services where the location of supplier and the location of recipient both are in India. Now we have just got 1-2 sections to talk in this concept of place of supply, and once we do that, this chapter will come to an end. Clear? So let's spend some very good time on discussion about the beautiful concept called section 13, my dear friends. Of course, we are talking about IGST Act, which is extremely important. So we'll spend some good time today on discussion about a lot of interesting points in section 13. And as I already told you, section 13 has got 13 subsections. That is, there is 13, 1 to 13 involved there. So it will take some time. We just cannot complete just like that. So it will take some time. We'll spend some very good time on that and become perfect, my dear friends. Are we ready, sir? Come on. Without any delay, let's proceed, my dear friends. And of course, as we all know, my dear friends, when we talk about the concept of place of supply, we are not dealing with CGST Act. We are clearly dealing with what, my dear friends? IGST Act. Exactly. Come on. Can you please tell me what is section 7 of IGST Act? Section 7 of IGST Act deals with interstate supply, where we learn some important concept that if the location of supplier and place of supply both are in different state, we call it as interstate supply. What is section 8? Intrastate supply. Section 9, supplies in territorial waters, and there what we learnt was if the location of supplier or the place of supply is in territorial waters, then it shall be deemed to be in the coastal state or UT where the nearest point of appropriate baseline is located. Then, my dear friends, section 10 talks about place of supply in case of goods, and 10 is divided into 10.1 and 10.2. 10.2 says if place of supply cannot be determined under 10.1, 10.2 says if the place of supply cannot be determined under section 10.1, then it is determined in such manner as may be prescribed. And 10.1 talks about how to determine place of supply. 10.1 talks about how to determine place of supply. Come on, friends. And what does 10.1 clearly say? 10.1 clearly says that, come on, my dear friends, in that we have got 5 clauses there: 10.1a, 10.1b, 10.1c, 10.1d and 10.1e. What does 10.1a say, my dear friends? 10.1a talks about place of supply in case where there is movement of goods, where law clearly told that in case where there is movement of goods, place of supply is the place where movement of goods terminates. Terminates means what? Stops, comes to an end for delivery to the recipient. 10.1b talks about bill to ship to model, where goods are supplied by supplier to the recipient on the instructions of the third person. And there, my dear friends, place of supply will be the principal place of business of such third person. Principal place of business of such third person, my dear friends. Good. 10.1c talks about what? Place of supply in case where there is no movement of goods. 10.1d talks about place of supply where goods are assembled or installed. And there, what is the answer? 10.1c answer is location of goods at the time of delivery. And 10.1d answer is the place of such installation or assembly. And 10.1e talks about place of supply in case where goods are supplied on board a conveyance. And law clearly told in case goods are supplied on board a conveyance, place of supply will be the place where goods are taken on board. Place of supply is what, sir? The place where goods are taken on board. Very interesting point. Clear? Come on, next. Tell me, guys, what is the answer for section 11, sir? 11 is divided into 11a and 11b. 11a talks about place of supply in case of imports. 11b talks about place of supply in case of exports. For imports, what law told is that for imports, the answer is location of importer. For imports, the answer is location of importer. And for exports, the answer is straight away location outside India. For imports, place of supply is location of importer. And for exports, the answer is location outside India. That is the answer, my dear friends. Are we fully clear with this? Everybody, sir? Excellent. Come on, next. Next point, sir. Let's talk about section 12. Already we have discussed that. So let's once quickly revise. And 12 I already taught you, my dear friends. In 12 we have got 12.1, 12.2, 12.3, 12.4, 12.5, 12.6, 12.7, 12.8, 12:09, 12:10, 12:11, 12:12, 12:13, 12:14. And it took us some sweet time to complete section 12 because there are so many points involved there, and that's why it took so much time for us. Come on friends, can you please quickly answer now? What is section 12.1? Come on. 12.1 clearly says provisions of section 12 will apply only when location of supplier and the location of recipient both are in India. Provisions of section 12 will apply only when location of supplier and location of recipient both are in India. Next, 12.2 is basically the general rule which says that if recipient is a registered person, then place of supply will be location of such person. But if recipient is an unregistered person, then what law told is that if address on record exists, then place of supply will be location of recipient. And if address on record does not exist, place of supply will be location of supplier. This is what law told, my dear friends. Very interesting point. What is 12.3? Come on. 12.3 talks about immovable property, where the answer is place where immovable property is located or intended to be located. And of course, one special point we learned that in case where property is located outside India, place of supply will be location of recipient. And there, my dear friends, in line with 12.3, we learnt about some rule called Rule 4, which says that for accommodation, you apportion on the basis of number of nights. And for any other service or for accommodation in property in contiguous states, that means in between two states the property is located, then you divide based on area of the immovable property. And last one, in case of accommodation in houseboat, Kerala example I gave, then in that case the answer is time spent by the boat in each such state as declared by the service provider. So he will tell how much time it is there in which state. Based on that, we will get the answer for place of supply. Clear, right? Good. Then, what is 12.4, my dear friends? Come on, what is 12.4? 12.4 talks about restaurant and catering services, personal grooming, fitness, beauty treatment, health services, including cosmetic and plastic surgery. And for all these points, directly law told place of supply is the place where services are actually performed. 12.5 talks about training and performance appraisal. If recipient is a registered person, location of such person, and if is unregistered person, then the place where services are actually performed. 12.6 talks about admission to events, place where event is held or park is located. 12.7 organizing an event. If recipient is registered person, location of that person. If he is unregistered person, then the place where event is held. And if event is held outside India, place of supply is location of recipient. We solved a lot of questions on this. Correct? Right. And then one more point we learned there was, if event is held in more than one state, then place of supply will be each of the respective state in proportion to the value determined in the contract or agreement. And in the absence of contract or agreement, Rule 5 will apply. And Rule 5 says, follow something called gap. You please do apportionment based on gap, my dear friends. And gap stands for generally accepted accounting principles. Then, what does 12.8 talk about? 12.8 talks about service by way of transportation of goods. Recipient registered, location of that person. Unregistered, place where goods are handed over for their transportation. And one special point we learned there was, if the goods are destined outside India, then the place of supply will be destination. In other words, destination of such goods. So if the goods are going outside India, place of supply will be outside. Because we are looking at destination of such goods. Then 12.9 talks about service of transportation of passengers, recipient registered, location of that person. Unregistered, then the place where passenger embarks on the conveyance for continuous journey. 12.10 services on board a conveyance, where law clearly told first scheduled point of departure. What is that, my dear friends? First scheduled point of departure of that conveyance for the journey. Very interesting line. Then 12.11 talks about telecommunication services. There we learnt about fixed line, then we learnt about mobile, postpaid, prepaid, and we learnt extra thing about something called Rule 6 also. That is, if lease circuit is located in more than one state, then we do the apportionment based on number of points. and starting point, ending point are regarded as two separate points. Any intermediate point is also regarded as a point. I'm sure you got the point. Good. 12.12 talks about banking and financial services, including stockbroking. And here law told place of supply is location of recipient on the records of supplier. But if the location of recipient is not available on the records of supplier, place of supply will be location of supplier. Then 12.13 talks about insurance services, recipient registered person, location of such person, recipient unregistered person, then location of recipient. 12.14 advertisement services to central government, state government, statutory body, local authority. And we have spent a lot of time on rule 3 in previous class, where we discussed very clearly that if advertisement is on train, then we see what, my dear friends? Length of railway track. Advertisement on the back of railway tickets, we look at number of railway stations. Advertisement on TV based on viewership. Advertisement on internet subscribers. Advertisement on telephone, then telephone subscribers through SMS. Correct, right? All these interesting points we covered there in rule 3, sir. Something interesting. And of course, I also discussed question also with you on this concept of how do we do the apportionment. And by chance, if you get the figures of more than one state together, then again we'll apportion in the ratio of population of that state as per the latest census. This point also I explained to you, my dear friends. That's it. That is the end of story for section 12, on which already we have spent lot of time, my dear friends, because extremely important. And one more reason why I spent so much of time on 12, because if you are perfect in 12, 13 becomes a very simple and easy task, because major points of section 13 are similar to section 12. That's an interesting point. You have to observe there very clearly. See now. Section 13. And in that first point, section 13.1. Come on. 13.1 says, provisions of section 13, same like 12.1 only, but here it says provisions of section 13 will apply only if provision of section 13 will apply only if location of supplier or location of recipient is outside India. That's it, my dear friends. Come on, what did I write there? Provisions of section 13 will apply only if location of supplier, and I'll highlight that word called or location of recipient is outside India. That is a point you have to observe, my dear friends. When will section 12 apply? 12 applies only when location of supplier and location of recipient both are in India. So if one of them is outside India, then 12 will not apply, section 13 will apply. That is a beautiful point you have to observe, sir. Come on, please write this first point. Section 13.1. Provisions of section 13 will apply only if location of supplier or location of recipient is outside India. So when one of them is outside India, only then section 13 will apply. So please finish off writing, come on. So 13.1 says what, my dear friends? One line answer, that's all. Provisions of 13 will apply only if location of supplier or location of recipient is outside India. So friends, my humble suggestion, whenever you look at any question, please make sure first to read the question properly. Check whether both are in India or one of them is outside India. If both are in India, then only apply section 12. By any chance, if one of them is outside India, don't dare to apply section 12, directly apply section 13. So please be very cautious and careful on that point. No compromise on this, my dear friends. Clear? Done. Come on. Next, my dear friends, let me talk about section 13.2, my dear friends. And 13.2 is something like general rule. like 12.2 how we learned there, and here 13.2 says section 13.2 will apply. Section 13.2 will apply for services not covered under section 13.3 to 13.13. Exactly. So there in 12.2 also we learned that 12.2 will apply for services not covered under 12.3 to 12.14. Same logic here also, section 13.2 will apply for services not covered under section 13.3 to 13.13. So for services which are not covered under 13.3 to 13.13, 13.2 will apply. And one point, I'll tell you one beautiful point, my dear friends. Sir, in section 12, in some sections we learned the answer as what will be the place of supply, directly they gave. For example, immovable property, they directly told the answer as place where property is located or property is intended to be located. But in 12.5 or 12.7, 12.8, 12.9, we heard a concept called if receiver is registered person, place of supply is different. If receiver is unregistered person, place of supply is different. And generally they do like that because wherever input tax credit is available, they gave a bifurcation between receiver registered, receiver unregistered. That is the idea and interpretation what we have drawn there. Correct, right? But now an interesting point what I want to tell you is that in section 13, you will nowhere find the word called receiver registered, receiver unregistered. That word will not be there at all in section 13. In section 13, any subsection, whatever I'll teach you now, everywhere directly you will find the answer for place of supply. But you will not find the word called if receiver registered, this is the answer. Receiver unregistered, this is the answer. That language is not there in section 13. That language is there only and only in section 12, sir. That language is not at all there in section 13. Please mark my words. Getting clarity, right? So that language called, what is that language, my dear friends? Recipient registered, recipient unregistered. That is not there in section 13. In section 13, directly you will have answer. Listen now. 13.2 general rule, which says that 13.2 will apply for services not covered under 13.3 to 13.13. Now here, what is the general rule? In general, place of supply is location of recipient if available in ordinary course of business. Location of recipient if available in ordinary course of business. Now you might ask, sir, ordinary course of business, location of recipient is available? No, sir. Why you are using that word if available? Obviously if only, sir. So for example, you go to restaurant to eat some food, then will you tell complete address? Will that person first to tell your address, then come inside? No. One more example, sir. Let's say you went to a salon to have a haircut. When you went to a salon to have a haircut, will that person ask your address and tell, if you tell your address only, we will allow you inside. If you don't tell your address, we will not let you come inside. Do they ever say that? No. That's all. So place of supply is what? Location of recipient if available in the ordinary course of business. Now see the next line. However, if location of recipient, come on my dear friends, please concentrate. If location of recipient is not available in ordinary course of business. Come on guys, I repeat one more time. If what, sir? If location of recipient, if what, my dear friends? Location of recipient is not available in the ordinary course of business, then POS, obviously you can expect, my dear friends, location of supplier. Location of what, sir? Supplier, no doubt about it. Correct, right? Let me give an example to give you complete clarity of thought on this. Listen now. So please listen. Let's say for a second, There is one person called Mr. Ping Pong. This Ping Pong is basically from Japan. He has come for a vacation to India. He has come for a vacation to what, my dear friends? India. Exactly. Now, when he has come for a vacation to India, in India, he went to one hotel to have his food. Let's say he went to one hotel called Hotel Taj, a registered person in Maharashtra, to eat food. Sir, he did not go to Taj for the purpose of staying in Taj Hotel. He went to Taj for the purpose of eating food, my dear friends. So basically, Hotel Taj is providing what, my dear friends? Restaurant service. Restaurant, my dear friends. I'm talking very clearly, restaurant service. I'm not talking about accommodation. Why I'm specifically repeating that word restaurant but not accommodation? Because generally when we go for accommodation, they keep asking our address. But when we go to have food to the restaurant, then they'll never ask what, my dear friends? Address. Correct, right, my dear friends? Come on. In this particular case, what do you think is place of supply? Place of supply will definitely be Maharashtra. Since address of recipient is not available in ordinary course of business. Ultimately, the concept is that only, that if address of recipient is available in the ordinary course of business, then place of supply will be location of recipient. However, if the location of recipient is not available in the ordinary course of business, then place of supply will be location of supplier. So for this restaurant service, place of supply is Maharashtra, and the restaurant will charge CGST and SGST. Now I know what doubt is coming in your brain. Some of them will get an extraordinary doubt. What doubt they'll ask me is, I know they'll start asking one doubt to me, saying that, sir, ping pong is basically from Japan. No, sir. I will tell yes. Next question they'll ask, sir, he came for a vacation, so basically he is a tourist. Correct or not, sir? I will tell yes, sir. You are right. He is a tourist. Then again you will ask me the question, sir, when he is a tourist, you only told that supply to a tourist is called interstate supply. Sir, I want you to recollect some point there properly. There what I clearly told you was supply of goods to a tourist. Supply of goods to a tourist is regarded as interstate supply, but not supply of service. Supply of service to a tourist, we never call it as interstate supply. Supply of goods to a tourist is only regarded as interstate supply. Supply of service is never an interstate supply. It all depends upon place of supply only. For goods only, I clearly told that supply of goods to a tourist is deemed to be an interstate supply. Restaurant activity is not a goods. It is clearly a service. Clear, right? Fantastic, sir. That's it. That is the end of story for section 13.2, which is nothing but the general rule, which clearly says that place of supply is the location of recipient. Location of recipient, if it is available in the ordinary course of business. But if the location of recipient is not available in the ordinary course of business, then place of supply will be location of supplier. That's it. Come on, please take it. Please write down. Come on, don't relax. Please finish off. Please write, put the heading 13.2 general rule and take this point. And first point you have to write very clearly that 13.2 will apply only for services which are not covered under 13.3 to 13.13. Come on, please take the example also properly. Example will make your job more simple and easy. Sir, in value of supply, I was trying to make you perfect in the concept by giving numbers. But here, in place of supply, I can't give numbers. So the only option for me is to give lot of examples so that you are perfect in the concept. That's the only option left for me. Are we clear with this concept, my dear friends? Everyone, finish writing example. Can I proceed and move forward? That's it. That's the end of story for section 13.2, my dear friends. Now let me spend some very good time on section 13.3, my dear friends. And this section will take some sweet time because there is a lot of depth involved in this section and so many interesting points are there. And generally, we title this section 13.3 as performance-based services. Come on, what do we call this as? Performance-based services. And for every point, I'll give an example. So kindly please concentrate. Very, very interesting and important. Clear? Please listen. Come on. So 13.3, my dear friends. I'll divide them into two categories. 13.3a and 13.3b, sir. 13.3a talks about, again in these 3 points. First point, service in respect of goods which are physically made available. Come on, my dear friends. Service in respect of what, sir? Service in respect of goods which are physically made available. That means physically on the goods, some service is done. For example, repair. Correct, right? Service in respect of goods which are physically made available. For this, law told, place of supply will be the place where services are actually performed. Place of supply is what, sir? Place of supply is the place where services are actually performed. Other side. Next point, my dear friends. Service in respect of goods from a remote location by electronic means. That means we solved the problem online. Service in respect of goods from what location, sir? Service in respect of goods from a remote location by what means, sir? Electronic means. In this case, what law told is that place of supply is location of goods at the time of place of supply will be, I repeat one more time, friends. Place of supply will be location of goods at the time of service. Come on, friends, what is the answer for place of supply? Place of supply will be location of goods at the time of service. This is what law told. I'll give examples, don't worry. Next, last, third situation, my dear friends. Goods imported into India temporarily for repairs and then exported after repairs. That means for the purpose of doing the repairs from foreign country, we imported the goods, we have done the repairing activity, and once that repairing activity is done, we exported the goods. Correct, right? So there was some problem in some goods, so we imported that goods, we repaired it and then exported. Correct, right? So basically goods are imported into India temporarily for repairs and then exported after repairs. For this particular point, my dear friends, law clearly told section 13(3) will not apply. That is 13(2) will apply. Friends, obviously common sense point. If 13(3) will not apply, then what will apply? Obviously, if 13(3) will not apply, 13(2) only will apply, because we all know that general rule only will come into picture. General rule is nothing but 13(2). 13(2) is the general rule. Correct or not? Exactly. Come on, next. Other side, my dear friends, we are talking about 13(3)(b), sir. 13(3)(b). 13(3)(b) talks about services supplied to an individual which requires physical presence. Services supplied to an individual which requires physical presence of individual. Come on, guys. What is the line, sir? Services supplied to an individual. Services supplied to an individual which requires physical presence of individual. For this, my dear friends, law clearly told place of supply. Place of supply is the place where services are actually performed. Place of supply is the place where services are actually performed. This is a very fantastic and a wonderful section. This will take some time. I cannot leave it just like that. Come on. Listen to the concepts. I'll give some wonderful examples now. Listen. First, example 1. Listen very clearly, sir. So let's say there is somebody called PQR Limited, who is basically a registered person in Gujarat, and these guys imported a machine from France. Imported a machine from where, sir? Imported a machine from France. Next. For the purpose of repair of such machine, for the purpose of repair of such machine, PQR Limited contacted ABC Inc. To send person to India for repair. Come on, my dear friends. What has happened originally, sir? There is somebody called PQR Limited who are registered person in Gujarat, and they imported a machine from France for the purpose of repair of such machine. What has happened? PQR Limited contacted whom, sir? Come on, please see that. PQR Limited contacted whom, my dear friends? They contacted ABC Inc. to send a person to India for the purpose of repair. Correct, right? Come on. Can you please tell me, sir? I'll ask you one question. Now, ABC Inc. is basically of France, my dear friends. Now, my straight question to you, sir. First straight question. Who is supplier of service? Supplier is nothing but ABC Inc. And who is the recipient, my dear friends? Recipient is nothing but PQR Limited. And if you observe very clearly, one of them is outside India because ABC Inc. is basically of France, PQR Limited is basically of India. And now when one of them is outside India, section 12 will not apply, section 13 will apply. Correct or not? And in this particular case, my dear friends, service is done on the goods which are physically made available. Service is done in respect of goods which are physically made available because ABC Inc. has sent one person to India. To that person, the goods are physically made available and they have done the repair. Correct or not? Exactly. So as per section 13(3), my dear friends, place of supply will be Gujarat. Why Gujarat? Because place where services are actually performed. Correct or not? Exactly. This is an example for the first point. Service in respect of goods which are physically made available, where law clearly told the answer is place where services are actually performed. Without any second thought, that is the answer. Clear, right? Good. That is an interesting example, my dear friends. Come on, look at the next point now. I'll give one more example now. Example 2. Please concentrate. Come on, my dear friends. Just 1 second. Yes. Example 2. So let's say there is one person called Mr. Krishna, who is basically a registered person in Maharashtra. He is basically a registered person in Maharashtra, and Mr. Krishna is one top software engineer. He is one top software engineer. And then there is, my dear friends, Microsoft, which is in US. Microsoft, there was a server in US, and this server had some bug. Had some what, my dear friends? Bug. Bug basically means some virus was there. An interesting point is that nobody could resolve that bug in entire US. Nobody could resolve that bug, and Microsoft got to know that there is somebody called Krishna who is a top software engineer. So Microsoft called Krishna and told, Mr. Krishna, we'll send one aircraft for you. Please come to US, solve the problem and go. Krishna replied, sir, for such a small issue, why should I come? Give me remote access. I'll sit here online. Give me your IP address. I'll resolve your problem. Correct, right? So Microsoft contacted Krishna and paid him 25 lakhs and told him to resolve the bug. Now Mr. Krishna solved the issue online. Mr. Krishna solved the issue, how, my dear friends? Online. So my straight question to you, did Krishna go to US? No. Second, did server come to India? No. So what has happened? Only issue is solved, service is performed straight away by way of what means, sir? Electronic means. Through online mode, the problem is solved. Correct, right, sir? Even now, even today, we also generally solve small issues by using AnyDesk software or TeamViewer software. So many options are there. For example, if you are facing some trouble in video installation, if you call me, I'll take AnyDesk of your system and see how you are doing installation and solve the problem. I need not come to your place. You need not come to my place. I can access by way of electronic means. Correct, right? Same logic here also. So in this particular case, my dear friends, my question is, what is the answer for place of supply? Place of supply is straight away US. Even though Krishna is sitting in India and solve the problem, place of supply will still become US, because service in respect of goods by way of electronic means shall be, place of supply will be location of goods at the time of service. And my question to you, where are the goods, my dear friends? The good is nothing but the server, and the good is in US. Since the goods are in US, place of supply will become US. even though Krishna is in India. So my dear friends, for your kind information, generally we call this as export of service. Why export of service? Supplier is in India, recipient is outside India, place of supply also outside India, and payment should be received in convertible foreign exchange or in Indian rupees wherever permitted by RBI. So if these conditions are satisfied, we clearly call it as export of service. Clear, friends? And if it is export of service under GST law, under refunds chapter, I'll teach you very clearly that you get refunds, my dear friends, when you do export of service. Because export of service is regarded as a zero rated supply. Export of service is regarded as zero rated supply. Very interesting and important. Clear? Good. Story is not yet done. Example 3. If Krishna would have imported that server, temporarily for repairs. If Krishna would have, what sir? Krishna would have imported that server temporarily for repairs and exported after repairs. Come on friends, what is the language I wrote sir? If Krishna would have, who is that my dear friends? If Krishna would have imported that server, temporarily for what? Repairs. If Krishna would have imported that server temporarily for repairs and exported after repairs, then section 13.3 will not apply, but section 13.2 will apply, my dear friends, because law clearly told in case where goods are imported temporarily into India for the purpose of repairs and then exported after repairs are done, then law clearly told 13.3 will not apply, directive will apply 13.2, my dear friends. That's it. Clear, right? So one more last example if I give you, the story of 13.3 is done. So if you observe, I am giving example for every point, sir. Sir, just to clarify you further, I prepared a table here in which there are 4 categories. 4 interesting points are there. On that 4 interesting points, on each of the interesting point, on every point, I am giving an example so that you get complete clarity of thoughts. So let me give one more last example also. Example 4, my dear friends. Listen. Sir, there is one person called Mr. Javed, who is a registered person in Maharashtra, and he is one top hairstylist. He is one top, what my dear friends? Hairstylist. Now interesting point is that there is one person called Mr. Trump. Come on friends, please concentrate. There is one person called Mr. Trump, and Trump is basically of US. Trump is basically from where, sir? Trump is basically from US, and the interesting point to be noted is something like this. Listen, Trump is going to Japan to attend World Business Conference. Trump is going to Japan to attend what's a World Business Conference. But for that business conference in Japan, Trump wanted to get some new hairstyling done. Now some new hair design done. Correct, right? Just an example, sir. Come on. So for that purpose, Trump contacted Javed and he told Javed, my dear Javed, I'll pay you 10 lakhs. Please come to Japan. Please come to Japan to supply service to Trump. Other words, please come to Japan and please do hairstyling for Trump because you are the top hairstylist in the world. So we want you to come and do hairstyling for Trump. Trump wanted to get some new hairstyle design done. Example, sir, example. Please don't question the question. Only answer the question. Please, example, come on. So for this kind of service, if you observe, service is supplied to whom, sir? Service is supplied to an individual and which requires the physical presence of Trump. Obviously, correct or not? Tell me guys, for this particular question, what will be the answer for place of supply? Place of supply will straight away be Japan. Place of supply is not Maharashtra. Place of supply is not US. Place of supply is Japan. Because the answer is very clearly like that. Because place of supply will be the place where services are actually performed. Place of supply is the place where services are actually performed. And they're actually performed in Japan. So place of supply will become Japan, my dear friends. Without any second thought, that becomes the answer. Very, very interesting point, my dear friends. And I strongly hope and believe that this makes sense. And this is the end of examples for the concept of section 13.3, sir. Very, very interesting and important. Clear? Come on. I definitely want you to write. I'll give you time. No problem. But first I want you to write this table and then take an example for every point. For every point I gave an example. For this it is example 1. That's all. For every point I give an example, then only we get full clarity of thought. Because, sir, the point is very simple. When I tell the concept, it feels like, yeah, what is there? So simple, nothing is there. So simple, that feeling will come. But when you actually put on the paper with an example, you will actually get to understand whether you are perfect or not. Because feelings, emotions are different. Conceptual clarity, what you have to get, that is different. Clear? Come on, please write. So 13.3, the title what you will put is performance-based services. That's what we call it as performance-based services, where we'll divide that 13.3 into 13.3a, 13.3b. 13.3a, we have got 3 points again. Service in respect of goods which are physically made available. Service in respect of goods from remote location by electronic means. And third one, goods imported into India temporarily for repairs and then exported after repairs. And last, 13.3b talks about services supplied to an individual. Services supplied to an individual which requires physical presence of an individual. And there the answer is very clearly place where services are actually performed. That's it. Come on, take it, sir. Done, finished writing? Should I scroll? Please reply, friends. Come on. Last 1 minute, then I'll move forward. And take this table, sir. Some of them are there just watching the video, not even writing anything. No book is in front of them, happily sleeping on the bed and watching the video. Sir, if you do that, it's not correct at all. Never ever do that, my dear friends. Please. So 13.3 deals with performance-based services. Good. I'll scroll it then. Yeah? Done. Take the example 1 first. One by one we'll write. No hurry. Please take example 1. And example 1 is talking about service in respect of goods which are physically made available. Finish writing the example, sir? Done. Now take the example 2 also. Example 2 is basically with respect to services performed from remote location by electronic means. And example 3 also is visible for you. That also you can write. And example 3 talks about if the goods are imported into India temporarily for repairs and after repairs they are exported, then law clearly told section 13.3 will not apply, will apply section 13.2. And 13.2 clearly talks about what, my dear friends, general rule which says that location of recipient if it is available in the ordinary course of business. But if the location of recipient is not available in the ordinary course of business, then place of supply will be location of supplier. That's all. Don't ever to forget that fundamental concept. Finish writing? Done. Next. Take the last example, example 4. Example 4 talks about services supplied to an individual. That is which requires the physical presence of the individual. And there the answer is the place where services are actually performed. That is why in this 4th example, even though Javed is in Maharashtra, Trump is basically from US, still the answer for place of supply became Japan. Because place of supply will be the place where services are actually performed. And they're actually performed in Japan. That is why answer became Japan. No second thought about it. Can I move forward? Finish off, come on. That's it, guys. That is the end of story for section 13.3, which deals with performance-based services. Something very interesting and very wonderful. And I'm pretty sure we guys have got complete clarity on this point. Clear? Fantastic. Then, let's now talk about something what you already know, my dear friends. I'm talking about section 13.4, sir. And in fact, 13.4 already I taught you while teaching 12.3. If you remember, sir, 13.4 talks about place of supply in case of services in relation to immovable property. Place of supply for services in relation to immovable property. Including accommodation service. Come on guys, I repeat one more time. What is the language I wrote, sir? Place of supply. Place of supply in case of what, sir? Place of supply in case of services. Place of supply in case of services in relation to immovable property. Including what, my dear friends? Accommodation service. Come on. For this, what law told, my dear friends? Place of supply is the place where immovable property is located or intended to be located. I already taught this point to you, sir. While teaching 12.3 only, I explained this point. But in 12.3, there is one special point. And the special point says, if immovable property is located outside India, place of supply will be location of recipient. Like that, one special point is there in 12.3. But there is no special point like that in 13.4, sir. In 13.4, directly the answer is place where property is located or intended to be located. That's it. Getting clarity, right? Come on. Let me give just one example to give clarity on this, sir. Because already we learned this point. So let's say there is one person called Mr. P. He is an architect. He is what, my dear friends? Architect in Singapore. Now there is one person called Mr. Mukesh Ambani. He is basically in Maharashtra in India. And Mr. P is one top architect in Singapore. Now Mukesh Ambani contacted P and paid him 1 crore because he wanted Mr. P to give design for house in Dubai. So Mukesh Ambani is constructing one house in Dubai. So for the house in Dubai, Mukesh Ambani wanted Mr. P to give design. So my straight point to you, sir, who is supplier, my dear friends? Supplier is nothing but Mr. P and recipient is nothing but Mukesh Ambani. And if you observe very clearly, my dear friends, where is supplier? Supplier is in Singapore. And where is recipient? Recipient is in India. And one of them is outside India. When one of them is outside India, what will happen, sir? Section 13 will apply, but not section 12. I already told you this point. Whenever you look at any question, any point, always keep in mind one important point. That important point you will keep in mind is that in case where supplier recipient both are in India, then only section 12 will apply. If any one of them, either supplier or recipient, if any one of them is outside India, then section 12 will not apply, section 13 will apply. I really want you to keep that point in mind. Clear? Good. Tell me, friends, for this example, what will become place of supply? Place of supply will become Dubai. Because place of supply is the place where immovable property is located or intended to be located. Same like 12.3. Make sense? Wonderful. That's it. Take it, sir. What more I should explain in this? Take it. No doubt about it. Please write up. In case of service in relation to immovable property, including accommodation service, place of supply is the place where immovable property is located or intended to be located. And it doesn't matter whether the immovable property is in India or outside India. Why I am telling like that? Because in 12.3 we had a special point which says if immovable property is located outside India, place of supply is location of recipient. That special point is not there in 13.4. That's there only in 12.3. That's it. So can I proceed? Yes, come on. Simple points here, not much of difficulty at all. Same like 12.3. That's it. Done. Let me move forward. Next section also will not take much time for us, sir. Next section is 13.5. Simple line, sir. 13.5 talks about place of supply in case of admission to event or organizing an event. Admission to event or organizing an event. So if you remember, in section 12 we had two separate subsections for admission to event and organizing an event. There we learnt that for admission to event it is 12.6, admission to event it is 12.6, and for organizing an event it is 12.7. And admission to event we learnt that place where event is held or park is located, and for organizing event we learnt that if recipient is registered person, location of such person, and if recipient is unregistered person, then place of supply will be what, sir? Place of supply will be what? Place where event is held. And if event is held outside India, place of supply is location of recipient. All these points we learnt, but in 13.5 it's not like that. 13.5 covers both admission to event as well as organizing an event. For both of them together, my dear friends, POS is the place where event is actually held. That's all. That's all. So whatever we learnt in 12.6 and 12.7, same point is there here. But in 12.7, for organizing an event, there was something called recipient registered person, recipient unregistered person. And I already explained to you that in section 13, you will not find a word, in section 13, you will not find a word recipient registered person, recipient unregistered person. That language is not there at all in section 13. Clear, right? So friends, in section 13, you will not at all find a word called receiver registered person, receiver unregistered person. That language is there only in section 12, but not in section 13. Clear? Come on, look at that. POS in case of admission to event or organizing an event. Place of supply is the place where event is actually held. Correct? Listen now. Take an example. Sir, let's say there is somebody called Tata Limited, who are basically in India. Now Tata Limited contacted Max Events of Dubai for the purpose of organizing Tata Limited annual day event. Tata Limited annual day event in Abu Dhabi. Come on friends, Tata Limited is having annual day event where, sir? Annual day event is in Abu Dhabi, and Max Events is basically an event organizer. Come on friends, Max Events is basically an event organizer. Max Event is basically an event organizer from Dubai. Event organizer from Dubai, and Tata Limited contacted Max Events of Dubai to organize the event. What event? Annual day event of Tata Limited. Annual day event of Tata Limited in Abu Dhabi. Clear, right? Come on friends. So who is supplier, sir? Supplier is Max Events and recipient is Tata Limited. And Tata Limited paid, let's say, 1 crore to Max Event for organizing the event in Abu Dhabi. Come on guys. So in this particular example, if you observe very clearly, supplier is in Dubai, recipient is in India. So when one of them is outside India, section 12 will not apply, 13 will apply. Tell me guys, what will become place of supply? Place of supply will become Abu Dhabi. For a simple reason that For a simple reason that 13.5 says in case of admission to event or organizing an event, place of supply is the place where event is actually held. So wherever event is held, that becomes place of supply. That's all. Come on, write this point and take the example also clearly. Take it, come on. Are we clear with this, sir? Which section? All this section 13.5. So what does 13.1 say, my dear friends? 13.1 clearly says 13.1 clearly says section 13 will apply only when location of supplier or location of recipient. One of them is outside India. 13.2 is what? General rule, which says that if address of recipient is available in the ordinary course of business, then location of recipient. If it's not available, then location of supplier. Then what is 13.3 talking about? 13.3 is talking about performance based services, in which we had so many points, my dear friends. Come on. Then what is 13.4 talks about? 13.4 talks about place of supply in relation to immovable property, where law clearly told the place where immovable property is located or intended to be located. Then finally 13.5 talks about admission to event or organizing an event, where place of supply is the place where event is actually held. Clear? That's it. Next section, come on. So that's about 13.5. Let's talk about the next section, my dear friends. Come on. Please look at the next point. We are talking about something called section 13.6, my dear friends. Now what is this 13.6? It's a very interesting. Please listen. Listen please. 13.6 says if services referred to in, so please kindly concentrate, very interesting line. So please do listen very carefully, sir. If services referred to in section 13.3, 13.4, 13.5 are performed at more than one location. Come on guys, kindly please listen, sir. If services referred to in section 13.3, 4, 5 are performed at more than one location, including taxable territory. Now what is the taxable territory? Taxable territory is nothing but India, obviously, sir. Come on. If services referred to in 3, 4, 5 are performed at more than one location, including taxable territory, then POS would be location in taxable territory. What does that mean? Let me give a wonderful example to give you clarity of thought. So let's say there is somebody called SHIVA TEJA. Example, don't worry. Yeah. SHIVA TEJA is having house 1, house 2 and house 3, sir. House 1 is in India, house 2 is in Dubai, house 3 is in US. So I've got 3 houses like this. One is in India, one is in Dubai, one is in US. So I've got 3 houses. Correct or not? Speak out, friends. Exactly. So the question is all about, when SHIVA TEJA is there, SHIVA TEJA is basically of India only. Now I contacted somebody called Mr. X, who is one top architect basically in Singapore, and I paid him 75 lakhs. I paid him what, sir? 75 lakhs for 3 houses together. I repeat one more time, friends. I paid 75 lakhs for 3 houses together. So I paid him 75 lakhs and told him to give design for the 3 houses. I repeat one more time, my dear friends. I paid him 75 lakhs and I paid 75 lakhs and asked him to give design for the 3 houses. But I did not ever tell, or X did not ever tell 25 lakhs is for each house. He never told like that. Let's say he collected lump sum 80 lakhs. He collected 80 lakhs lump sum. That's why I wrote the word 80 lakhs he has taken for 3 houses together. 3 houses together. He never told for house 1 this much, for house 2 this much, for house 3 this much. Like that he did not tell. He collected one consolidated amount. He collected one consolidated amount of 80 lakh rupees for 3 houses together. But you need to observe that one house is in India, one house is in Dubai, one house is in US. Then how will you determine place of supply? That is a whole challenge what we are trying to discuss. Correct, right? Now what law clearly told is that in this particular example, place of supply for entire contract will straight away be India. Place of supply for the entire contract is straight away what, sir? India. No second thought about it. Come on, sir. What is the right? If services referred to in 3, 4, 5 are performed at what, sir? More than one location, including taxable territory, then POS will be what, sir? POS will be location in taxable territory. That's how, even though one house is in India, one house is in Dubai, one house is in US, for the entire contract, POS will be India. Because Mr. X has charged lump sum. If separately they charged and all 3 are separate contracts, then we will not apply this concept at all. This concept will come only when there is one contract, but the service is performed in more than one location. Then only this concept will apply. I repeat one more time, friends. This concept will apply only if it is one contract and service is performed in more than one location. Only then this concept will apply, sir. If not, this concept will not apply at all. Clear, right? Come on. I'll read out once again what I wrote there. If services referred to in 13, 3, 4, 5 are performed at more than one location, including taxable territory, then POS would be location in taxable territory. That's all. And by this concept only, I got the answer as India. Please observe that. Very, very interesting and fantastic concept, guys. That's it. That is the story of 13.6. Clear? But before you write 13.6, I'll complete 13.7 also, sir. Then you'll enjoy this concept more. Listen why. Section 13.7 says, if services referred to in section 13.3, 4, 5, section 13.3, 13.4, come on guys, if services referred to in, one more time I repeat, sir, if services referred to in 13.3, 4, 5 are performed in more than one state, in India. So sometime back in India only one location was there, but here I am talking about in India it is performed in more than one state. In India it is performed in more than one state. Then how will you find out? That is important. See now, if services referred to in 13.3, 4, 5 are performed in more than one state in India, then POS would be each of the respective state in proportion to the, one more time I repeat sir, in proportion to the value determined, in proportion to the value determined in the contract or agreement. Come on guys, such an interesting language. Already we learned this language in section 12. Come on, see that. What did I write? If services referred to in 13.3.4.5 are performed in more than one state in India, are performed where sir? Performed in more than one state in India, more than one state in India, then POS would be each of the respective state, in proportion to the value determined in the contract or agreement. Now what will happen in the absence of contract or agreement? In the absence of contract or agreement, friends, what law told is that for section 13.3, my dear friends, for which section? 13.3, they gave a rule called Rule 7. They gave a special rule called Rule 7. Already we learned Rule 3, Rule 4, Rule 4, Rule 5, Rule 6. Rule 3 is what? Section 12.14, advertisement service. Rule 4, it is talking about 12.3, immovable property. Rule 5, organizing event, gap. Rule 6, 12.11, telecommunication services, lease circuit, point. Correct or not? Yes. 13.3 is talking about something called Rule 7, which we should talk in detail. And 13.4 is talking about Rule 8. And Rule 8 says, refer Rule 4. Rule 8 says, refer Rule 4. Other words, Rule 8 says, same as Rule 4. And what is Rule 4, by the way? Rule 4, immovable property. We learned that accommodation in hotel, number of nights, any other service, the area of the property, house, boat, time spent in that boat. Remember that? Exactly. 13.5. 13.5 is what? 13.5 is what? Come on, please tell me what is 13.5? 13.5 is admission to event, organizing an event. Here they told, follow something called Rule 9. And Rule 9 says, same as Rule 5. And Rule 5 I taught you while teaching 12.7, where I told you that for organizing an event, place of supply is the place where event is actually held. If recipient is unregistered, and by any chance, if event is held in more than one state, then we will follow something called GAP. GAP is nothing but generally accepted accounting principles. Other words, we will do the apportionment on the basis of generally accepted accounting principles. That's it. That is the end of story for 13.5, which is talking about Rule 9. So Rule 3, 4, 5, 6 already I taught. Now I am talking about Rule 7, 8, 9. Very interesting, friends. Now the only thing which I have to spend time with you is on Rule 7. And if I just talk Rule 7 with you, our story is over. Our work is done. Clear, right? So friends, I hope you got the difference between 13.6 and 13.7, sir. 13.6 is talking about 3, 4, 5, more than one location, including India, including taxable territory. 13.7 is talking about 3, 4, 5, more than one state. 6 is talking about 3, 4, 5 at more than one location, including taxable territory. 13.7 is talking about more than one state. So I hope you get complete clarity here. So everywhere there is a big difference what you should get clarity upon. Clear, right? Come on, speak out. Very, very interesting and important. So writing part we'll do later. First let me talk about Rule 7, then we'll do the writing part. Okay? No hurry. I'll open the material once. Our material, of course. Our material. And I'm looking at page number 82. In that, section 13. First of all, 13.1. Provisions of this section will apply to determine place of supply of services where the location of supplier or the location of recipient is outside India. Obviously, 13.2 is what? General rule, where we learned that it is location of recipient. But if the location of recipient is not available in the ordinary course of business, it is location of supplier. And 13.3, we spent a lot of time already. Goods are physically made available. What is the answer? place where services are actually performed. And if they are performed from remote location by electronic means, then the location where goods are situated at the time of supply of service. I taught this to you. And services supplied in respect of the goods which are temporarily imported into India for repairs or any other treatment or process. Need not just be repairs, it could be repairs or any other treatment or process. Then what is the answer, friends? And exported after repairs without being put to any other use in India. In India they are used only for the purpose of repairs. Then 13.3 will not apply, general provision 13.2 will apply. 13.3b also we discussed, services given to an individual. Then 13.4 is what? Immovable property, including accommodation, my dear friends, place where immovable property is located or intended to be located. All this is over, sir. Then 13.5, services supplied by way of admission to or organizing of cultural, artistic, sporting, scientific, educational, entertainment event or celebration, conference, fair, exhibition, similar events, or services ancillary to such admission or organization, place where event is held. That's all. I taught you all this. Now look at the interesting story, sir. 13.6 and 13.7. Very important. See now. 13.345. If service is supplied at more than one location, including a location in taxable territory, more than one location, including a location in taxable territory, then place of supply will be location in the taxable territory. Otherwise, if service is performed at more than one location, including India, then place of supply will be India. Next line. If it is done in more than one state or UT, this is 13.7 story, sir. Place of supply is taken as each of the respective state in proportion to the value for service separately collected or determined in terms of the contract or agreement entered into in this regard. So place of supply will be what, my dear friends? Value determined in the contract or agreement. Next line. In the absence of such contract or agreement, on such other basis as may be prescribed, and already I told you, prescribed by Rule 7, Rule 8, Rule 9. Rule 8 same as Rule 4, Rule 9 same as Rule 5. The only thing I should talk is Rule 7. Very interesting. See now. Rule 7. Services supplied on same goods. So on same goods, we have done service at more than one location. On the same goods, we have done service at more than one location. Then how will you determine, sir? We will determine equally dividing. What dividing, sir? Equally dividing the value of service in each of the state or UT where the service is performed. Come on, friends. What is the line, sir? Equally dividing the value of service. Equally dividing the value of service in each of the state or UT where service is performed. Let's look at example 1 for this. A company C, which is located in Kolkata, is providing the service of testing of a dredging machine. They are testing a machine, and the testing service on the machine is carried out in Orissa and also in Andhra Pradesh. So on the same machine, they are doing testing in Orissa also, AP also. So place of supply is in Orissa and also in AP. And the value of service in Orissa and AP will be ascertained by dividing the value of service equally between these two states. So we'll divide them equally, sir. Next point. Services supplied on what goods, sir? Different goods. So on different goods, service is done. So previous point was service supplied on the same goods. Then we divided them equally. If it is on different goods, considering the ratio of invoice value of the goods, that means we will divide the service value in the ratio of value of the goods on which service is performed. as the ratio of value of service performed in each state or UT. Come on, see one wonderful example I gave, sir. A company C, which is located in Delhi, is providing servicing of 2 cars belonging to X. They are doing servicing of 2 cars belonging to X. One car is of manufacturer J, located in Delhi, and is serviced by Delhi workshop. Other car is of manufacturer A, located in Gurugram, and is serviced by its Gurugram workshop. And the value of service attributable to UT of Delhi and the state of Haryana, respectively, shall be calculated by applying the ratio of invoice value of the car J and invoice value of the car A to total value of service. So value of service we are apportioning in the value of the car. Otherwise, value of service is apportioned in the ratio of value of the goods. Getting clarity, right? Come on friends, what are we doing, sir? Value of service is apportioned in the ratio of value of goods. Value of service is apportioned in the ratio of value of the goods. That's what we are doing, friends. Getting clarity, sir? Very interesting. Last point. Service supplied to individuals. Here they told applying gap, generally accepted accounting principles. Example 3. See now, come on. A makeup artist M has to provide makeup services to an actor A, some Hollywood actor. A is shooting some scenes in Mumbai, some scenes in Goa, and M provides makeup services in Mumbai also, Goa also. That is Maharashtra and Goa. And the value of service in Maharashtra and Goa will be ascertained by applying generally accepted accounting principles. Generally, the point of gap is not defined anywhere. Gap means generally whatever accounting principle you follow, that principle will follow here also. That's all. Clear, right? So friends, what did rule 7 say, sir? So in simple effect, rule 7 says, come on, I want this in your book. Rule 7 says, for same goods, divide equally. And if it is service on different goods, service value is apportioned. Service value is apportioned based on invoice value of goods. Come on, my dear friends, what did I write, sir? Service value is apportioned. What value is apportioned? Service value is apportioned based on invoice value of the goods. So we are apportioning the service value based on the invoice value of the goods. What a brilliant point, my dear friends. Next, if it is service supplied to individuals, then we will apply gap. And gap stands for generally accepted accounting principles. That's it. I want this in your book. Please write. We discussed so many examples, but I want this table to come in your book. So please do write this table. But not now. Hold on. Hold. First, we should write this concept of 13.6, 13.7. Then we will write that rule 7. Hold on. Come on. So 13.1, 2, 3, 4, 5 we already wrote in our book. So first, I request you to write 13.6 first. First write 13.6 in your notes. What 13.6 say? If services referred to in 13.3, 4, 5 are performed at more than one location, including taxable territory, then POS would be location in taxable territory. For that I gave an example. So you have to understand that 13.6 is talking about more than one place, including India. And 13.7 is talking about in India, what if it is more than one state? How will you apportion? For 13.3, they gave rule 7. For 13.4, they gave rule 8. For 13.5, they gave rule 9. First write this 13.6. Brilliant concept, guys. That's why I clearly told, if 12 you are master, 13 becomes a very simple and easy task. If 12 is gone, 13 also gone, obviously. So it is very important that you have a complete clarity of thought. So here in this example, X is giving service in relation to one house in India, one house in Dubai, one house in US. For the entire contract, place of supply will become India. But imagine a case where all three are separate contracts and for all three value is different. Then this point will not apply only. This point will come into picture only when it is a consolidated contract and a consolidated amount is given. Then only these points will apply. If not, these kind of points will not apply at all. Please understand very clearly. Clear? Done. Next. Please take 13.7, sir. 13.7, first line I wrote, if 3, 4, 5 is in more than one state, POS would be each of the respective state in proportion to the value determined in the contract or agreement. But in the absence of contract agreement only, the story of rules will come. Rule 8, Rule 9 I need not talk because it is same like your Rule 4, Rule 5 which I already discussed with you. Rule 5 immovable property and Rule 4 immovable property, Rule 5 organizing an event. And for organizing event we will follow what? Gap, generally accepted accounting principle. So gap is not a specific definition as such. Gap only means whatever generally you follow, that only will follow. Clear, right? Done? Last 30 seconds, please finish off writing. That's it, come on. Now I humbly request you to take this point in your notes of this Rule 7. I want this to come in your notes, sir. Please take it. Rule 8, Rule 9, if you don't write also, I am okay because already we discussed that and we wrote that. But I want this Rule 7 in your book. So if it is service on same goods, we'll divide the value of service equally in between two states. If it's on different goods, then service value is apportioned based on invoice value of the goods. And if it is service supplied to individual, we'll follow gap. That's it. Are we done? Come on. So I'll move forward then. So friends, we are done with the story so far of 13.1 to 13.7. But before I proceed to the next section, my dear friends, I want you to write one table in your notes. The table is rule number of IGST rules, rule number of IGST rules, and relevant section. I definitely want this in your book. Please. Rule 3 is talking about 12.14. Rule 4 is talking about 12.3. Rule 5 is talking about 12.7. Rule 6 is dealt by 12.11, my dear friends, telecommunication, based on number of points in case of least circuit. And Rule 7 is dealt by 13.3, my dear friends. 13.3, performance based services. And Rule 8 is given by 13.4, immovable property. And Rule 9 is related to 13.5, admission to event, organizing an event. That's it. I want this in your book. Please stay this in your notes so that you will not get any doubt subsequently and you are very clear with the point. And just to clarify, we can also add one more column called title, and I can write 12.14 talks about advertisement and 12.3 talks about immovable property. Just one quick reference. So the point of this summary is that next time when you see, you should not take trouble at all. 12.7, organizing an event. 12.11, telecommunication. 13.3, performance based. 13.4, immovable property. 13.4 is what? Immovable property. And 13.5 is what? Admission or organizing. And just to highlight further, what extra thing I'll do for you is Rule 8. Rule 8 is same as Rule 4, correct, right? And Rule 9 is same as Rule 5. That's it. That's all. Take table like this so that next time when you look at any of this rule number, directly you will be able to tell the answer. So ultimately the objective is very simple in life, sir. That is, we have to make our work very simple and easy. But we can't compromise on the quality of the work what we are doing. Our work can be simplified but cannot be compromised on quality terms. That's why we always say hard work can be substituted by smart work, provided work is not substituted. That's important. At any point, at any cost, your quality of work should not come down. So that's how when you write your exam paper, what you are going to present should be fantastic. Without any second thought, that should be the best paper. Because ultimately, as I've been telling you again and again, ICA doesn't see you. They don't know you who you are. They'll just value you based on the answer what you write. So it is extremely important that you present in the best manner so that we get some amazing scores. Clear? Done. No doubt about it. Can I proceed and move forward now? That's it. That is end of story for section 13.1 to 13.7, my dear friends. Yeah? Come on. So let's also complete section 13.8 today. Come on. In 13.8, we have got 3 points. 13.8A, 13.8B, 13.8C. 13.8A talks about banking and financial services to account holders. Banking and financial services to what, my dear friends? Account holders. Banking and financial services to account holders. 13.8B talks about intermediary services. Friends, whenever I use the word intermediary services, intermediary is something like acting as an agent, acting as an intermediary, or acting as a facilitator. Some of them locally call it as brokerage, broker activity, whatever you call it, intermediary services. Then 13.8C talks about hiring of means of transport up to 1 month. Only up to 1 month. If it is more than 1 month, then 13.8 will not apply. If 13.8 will not apply, then what will apply? 13.2 will apply. Hiring of means of transport up to 1 month, including yachts. Yachts is something like houseboats, including yachts, but excluding hiring of means of transport up to 1 month, including yachts, but excluding aircraft and vessel. Come on, friends. Hiring of means of transport up to 1 month, including yachts, but excluding aircraft and vessel. That means if you hire aircraft or vessel, then 13.8 will not apply. If 13.8 will not apply, where will you go, sir? Obviously, we will go back to the general rule. That is nothing but 13.2. Clear, right? Now, in all these cases, my dear friends, law told place of supply is straight away location of supplier. In all the 3 cases, place of supply without any second thought is location of supplier. Now, what are 3 cases? Number 1, banking and financial services to what, my dear friends? Account holders. Second, intermediary services acting as a broker or facilitator. Last one, hiring of means of transport up to period of 1 month, including yachts. Yachts also covered, but excluding aircraft and vessel. So if it is aircraft and vessel, then 13.8 will not apply. If 13.8 will not apply, we will go back to the general rule. That is nothing but 13.2. Nothing but 13.2. Make sense? Speak out. Come on. So let's say there is a lady called Ivanka Trump. Ivanka Trump basically from US. Now there is one person called Mr. A who is basically in India and he has got a travel agency and he has given 10 cars on rent for 25 days at a value of 1 lakh rupees. He gave 10 cars on rent for 25 days at a value of 1 lakh rupees. 1 lakh is very less. Let's do one thing. At a value of 10 lakhs. 10 cars he gave on rent for 25 days at a value of 10 lakh rupees. He gave it on rent to Ivanka Trump. Clear, my dear friends? Now my straight question, who is supplier? Supplier is nothing but Mr. A and recipient is nothing but Ivanka Trump. So that very clearly specifies to us that one of them is outside India. And if one of them is outside India, obviously, my dear friends, section 12 will not apply, section 13 will apply. If one of them is outside India, section 12 will not apply, section 13 will apply. And that too, moreover, for hiring of means of transport, section 13.8 is there, my dear friends. And for this particular point, place of supply will become India. because place of supply will be location of supplier. That's it. Very interesting and important point, my dear friends. Come on. So 13.8, there are totally 3 points in 13.8, my dear friends. One point is banking and financial services to its account holders. Number 2 is what, sir? Intermediary services. Correct? Last one. Come on. Hiring of means of transport up to 1 month, including yachts, but excluding aircraft and vessel. That means for aircraft and vessel, 13.8 will not apply. If 13.8 does not apply, where will you go? We'll go back to the general rule, nothing but 13.2. That's it. Clear? Come on. I want this in your book. Please do write down. Please write this 13.8. And all the 3 cases, place of supply is location of supplier. Please write, come on. So let me scroll, my dear friends. I definitely wanted to take the example also. Take the example, please. Clear, finish of writing? Sir, if by chance, if the 10 cars would have been given on rent not for 25 days but for 35 days, then it would have become more than 1 month. And if it is more than 1 month, let me tell you very clearly, section 13.8 will not apply. And if 13.8 does not apply, we will go back to where? General rule. So 13.8 is talking only about hiring up to a period of 1 month only. If it is more than 1 month, 13.8 will not apply. Clear? Come on. Sir, let me take you back to our material. In our material, please look at section 13.8, my dear friends. 13.8A, first one, service supplied by banking company or a financial institution or NBFC. Correct, right? Banking company, financial institution or NBFC. To which what, my dear friends? Account holders. Place of supply is location of supplier of service. And account means account bearing interest. Account bearing interest. Savings bank, fixed deposit, we get interest. Account means account bearing interest to the depositor and includes a NRE account or NRO account. Non-resident external, non-resident ordinary. I hope you know the difference between NRE account and NRO account. If a foreign person is depositing money in India from foreign country, he will do that through an NRE account. And if a foreign person is making money in India, he will deposit the money in NRO account. So if money is coming from foreign country, we call it as, we put it in NRE account. If money is originating in India only, then we put the money in NRO account. Next. So it talks about what's a banking company, financial institution, NBFC. To what, my dear friends? Account holders. Clear? Good. Next. 13.8B talks about intermediary services. Here also location of supplier. 13.8C talks about services consisting of hiring of means of transport. Hiring of what, sir? means of transport, including yachts, but excluding aircraft and vessel up to a period of 1 month. So if it's more than 1 month, then the section only will not apply. And if it's aircraft and vessel, then also section will not apply. Then place of supply is location of supplier of service. Such a brilliant point, my dear friends. Make sense? That's all. That is the end of story for section 13.8, my dear friends. I'm sure we got clarity on 13.8, friends. Come on, let's discuss 1-2 questions on this, my dear friends. Yes. Page number 96, my dear friends. Question number 14. See that. RST Inc., a corn chips manufacturing company which is based in where, sir? USA, intends to launch its products in India. Wonderful. However, the company wishes to know the taste and sensibilities of Indian. Wow. Before launching its products in India. For this purpose, RST Inc. has approached ABC Consultants, Mumbai, Maharashtra, to carry out a survey. So for carrying out a survey, there is no specific subsection for this. So when there is no specific subsection, we'll apply general rule only, 13.2, to enable it to make changes, if any, in its products to suit Indian taste. Survey is to be solely based on oral replies of the surveys. There will not be provided any sample by RST Inc. to taste. That means there is no goods on which service is performed. There is no goods on which service is performed. If there is a goods on services performed, then 13.3 can come. ABC Consultants will be paid in convertible foreign exchange. Fantastic. With reference to provisions of GST law, determine place of supply of service. Obviously, place of supply will become US, my dear friends, because place of supply is the location of recipient, and location of recipient is not available in the ordinary course of business, then we call it as location of supplier. But here obviously ABC Consultants will have the address of RST Inc. That's why place of supply is US. Explain whether the said supply amounts to export of service. For this also, my answer is yes, my dear friends. But why? That is important. Supplier is in India, recipient is outside India, place of supply is outside India, payment is received in convertible foreign exchange, and I told you that payment can come in convertible foreign exchange or in Indian rupees wherever permitted by RBI. So here, since all these conditions are satisfied, we will call it as export of service. In fact, all these words of export of service are given by 2(6) of IGST Act. 2(6) of IGST Act clearly says if supplier is in India, recipient is outside India, place of supply is outside India, and payment is received in convertible foreign exchange or in Indian rupees wherever permitted by RBI. If these conditions are satisfied, then what we'll do, my dear friends? We will call it as export of service. That's it. That is the story of this point of question number 14. Clear? I strongly believe that we got full clarity on this point. Yes, sir. Can I move forward? Done. Without any second thought, I can proceed happily. And by the way, export of service with section 2(6), which clearly says supplier should be in India, recipient should be outside India, place of supply should be outside India, payment should be received in convertible foreign exchange or in Indian rupees wherever permitted by RBI. If these conditions are satisfied, we will clearly call it as export of service. That's it. I think I should proceed now. Done. Question number 15, my dear friends. ABC Private Limited, New Delhi, provides support services to foreign customer in relation to procuring goods. Support service is something like what, sir? Support service is something like intermediary services, acting like an agent or facilitating services. Intermediary services, we have got 13.8. Company identifies the prospective vendor, reviews the product quality, they identify the vendor, reviews the quality and pricing, and then shares the vendor details with the foreign customer. So they're acting as intermediary. Foreign customer then directly places purchase order on the Indian vendor for purchase of specified goods. Wonderful. ABC Private Limited charges its foreign customer cost plus 10% markup for services provided by it. For the month of December, company has charged $1 lakh to its foreign customer. With reference to GST law, examine whether it will be export of service. The answer is no. Since place of supply is in India, in order to constitute export of service, there is an important condition called place of supply should be outside India. But we know that for intermediary services, place of supply is location of supplier, that is nothing but India. Clear, right? So friends, let me show you something interesting here. Sir, this is the definition for intermediary given by section 213. Read that once. Intermediary means a broker, an agent, or any other person by whatever name you call, who arranges, who what, sir? Arranges or facilitates the supply of goods or services or both, or securities between two or more persons, but does not include a person who supplies goods, services, or both, or securities on his own account. If he is only giving, then why you call him as intermediary, sir? Correct, right? So when he is facilitating, then only we call him as intermediary, my dear friends. So very, very interesting question, my dear friends. So in this intermediary services, we know that as per section 13.8, place of supply is location of supplier, that is nothing but India. And since place of supply is in India, it does not satisfy the condition for export of service. And when the condition for export of service is not satisfied, then gone. We cannot call it as export of service. That's it, my dear friends. That is the story of this question number 15. Clear? Wonderful. So friends, in today's discussion, I'll stop here. Don't worry. In today's discussion, we are done with 13.1 to 13.8. And next class, I'll complete the balance points of 13 and close with this topic of place of supply. Clear? Good. 13.1 says what? 13 will apply only when location of supplier or location of recipient, one of them is outside India. 13.2 is general rule. 13.3 is performance based services. 13.4 is immovable property. 13.5 admission to event, organizing an event. 13.6 3, 4, 5 more than one location including taxable territory. Then place of supply is location in taxable territory. 13.7 3, 4, 5 more than one state. 13.8 3 services, 3 are there: banking and financial services. Second, intermediary services. Third one, hiring of means of transport up to 1 month, including yachts but excluding aircraft and vessel. And in all the 3 cases, place of supply is location of supplier. That's it, my dear friends. The balance will take forward in next class, and next class we'll complete the story of section 13 and also close with the chapter called place of supply. That's it. Thank you so very much. Balance will take forward in next class. Bye-bye. Thank you.